Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode, what we call the Tom Matt Show. We can call this Financial Fitness Craig Stiles Show here in a second because Craig will be our guest and we'll talk. We're going to talk about calming down. We're going to talk about election season, calming down. I'm going to get my.
That's not how we were phrasing that. It was more of an exclamation point and a demand. Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Calm down. But we'll get there. Trainer T will jump out here in just a second here. Papa Tom's being real nice and gentle right now. Before we do that, though, remind you last week, Brock was here. We talked about relationships, and he brought one of his interns in. Mr. Colby came in with him, and it was awesome. And he's just a good boy doing his thing, and it was lots of fun. I want to make sure I get it right. Caleb Coley. Yep, that's right. Caleb Coley was our guest with Brock. And yes, we did talk some football stuff because he is a player on the football team. And the relationship that they have is very interesting conversation about how Caleb Coley is such a faith-based young man. I mean, unbelievable how he was just dialed in and how he focuses on. He doesn't worry about anything because he's got his stuff together. And that's the thing about this faith and believing in something. When you believe in something, you don't have these doubts always popping into your mind.
Yep.
Perfect segue to get Mr. Craig in here. Mr. Craig Stiles received his Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Arizona State University. This is his 27th visit to this radio program. That's how much he cares about helping you do your thing, how much he helps us do our thing with having all of our ReFirement Zone savings. As I say every show, full disclosure, thank goodness I don't even sweat anything about this stuff. That's why I don't worry about calming down because I'm calm. I'm good. Craig went on to get his master's in business administration, which means that's an MBA, concentration in finance. That's a good thing since he's a finance guy from Western Michigan University. I got to talk to him about a student too that I have, a kid out at Michigan State that's a really good finance kid, and I want to introduce him to some people. Craig joined the Army Reserves, serving in the first NATO operation in Bosnia in 1996. Thank you for your service, my man. He was an industrial engineer for Parker Hannifin Corporation. You've heard me say this before when he started his career. He applied his analytical skills to building a fine algorithm called Decidere Analytics, and that's what pushes him over the top. We'll talk about that during the second segment. Of course, we talk about Decidere a lot, and we'll refresh your memory on that. I'm going to make a little note of that right now because Decidere is what makes Craig different. It's his proprietary algorithm. I was thinking I was going to say it's a tool in the toolbox, but it's much more than it's actually the toolbox. I mean, it's the application that has all the tools inside of it. That's Decidere. We'll talk about that in a second here. Craig resides in Williamson with his wife, Stephanie, and how many children now? 14?
14.
How about 11 children?
We'll
talk about family stuff here in a second. I want to welcome back to the radio program my very, very, very good friend. Thank goodness we got him managing all of our finances. I'm incapable of it. If I buy one more Lions shirt, I think I'm gonna wind up in divorce court. I need to get a withdrawal from Craig, if it's okay, to go buy more Lions gear. Anyways, welcome back to the show, my brother from another mother, Craig Stiles. Welcome back, bro.
Tom.
How many Lions shirts do you have?
How many Lions shirts? I'll be honest, I don't think I have a Lions shirt. Growing up, I remember I had a whole bunch of Barry Sanders stuff and everything else when I was growing up. You had those player kind of black outlines or whatever, and you can color them in, whatever it was. That was really popular back in the day. I had a lot of line stuff from Eric Hipple to Barry Sanders to, all these classical names, right, that you had back when they're definitely pretty strong at that point in time. And I've just, I'd love to be able to watch more sports. I've got too many sports going on with my kids. So for me to be able to sit down and enjoy a game, that makes it more difficult. So unfortunately, I haven't had any Detroit Lions paraphernalia as of yet. My daughter Miriam, who you've been talking about, went to their game 2 weekends ago before she left for out in the Wyoming area. She and some friends went out there. So one of their friends had an extra ticket. she got invited along and went and just had a great time.
Imagine that. A nice girl like her, Miriam. All right, well, let's do the whole family thing now because everybody wants to know about your family and your life, and I do as well. So please take the rest of the segment here and just do the this is your life thing, and we'll get down to some election season and calm down. Just chill. No, go ahead.
All right. Well, Michaela right now has her first big girl job down in Florida. So she is also engaged to be married as of the 4th of July. So the 28th of June of next year is when the big wedding date is going to be scheduled.
Where's
So
that going to be?
where's the wedding? Right here in Williamston.
All right.
Right
I,
here in
I,
Williamston.
I hope an invitation flies over to this resident. We
I'm
would love
sure
it. You
there
said
might be, 1 cent to Sandy.
that.
She might be able to bring somebody, a guest or someone. Who knows?
Hopefully she invites me. Well, that's so great. I'm glad. I'm so happy for her, and I want to meet the guy that scored the beauty and the just she's got so much. Well, all your kids are talented and super packed with all kinds of good things, but Michaela,
Yep, yep.
that girl,
She's
man,
yeah, she's doing fine. She's doing all right.
yeah,
It's
she's doing fine. What is she actually doing for her big girl job?
well, if you look her up on LinkedIn, I think her official title is Panhandle / Tallahassee Regional Representative for the Executive Office of the Governor.
All right, I'm going to give a long pause there. I do, this is why we do this spontaneous radio program. It's like I'm definitely going to LinkedIn and I'm definitely going to be stalking her on that one because I'm a LinkedIn guy. And that's anybody wants to find me, go to LinkedIn. That's the best spot. I have a lot of good stuff there, along with all my other social media. Well, that's wonderful. I'll be checking in on that one. How's the rest of the clan?
The rest of the clan is doing great. Christian, my son Christian, still an entrepreneurial route, if you will. He's been basically a strong handyman in a wide variety of ways, he's got several yards that he's been working on for lawn mowing, but also landscape work. He's been working as a farmhand for another local gentleman. Doing well from that perspective. It's amazing when you sit there and educate your kids or train your kids to recognize that, and I know you've heard me say this a gazillion times, right? No matter where you are in life, quite frankly, there's always going to be someone out there smarter than you, more talented than you, having more money than you, more whatever than you. But there are two things that no one will be able to ever do better than you. That's show up on time and give 100%. You do that, you'll never go hungry, right? And so, from that perspective, out of my kids' um, experiences, if you will, understanding those two concepts and working hard, they have earned a reputation for themselves of, hey, I understand you've got a hardworking kids. I'm like, I do. And tell you what, here, I'll just connect you with them and you work something out. And that's basically what they've been doing from local farmers here, baling hay, taking care of their animals, doing whatever that basically needs to get done because you have basically, just like in every industry, an aging population that is not finding young kids coming into it. And our kids are finding these opportunities hook, line, and sinker. And so if they needed to, they could be working 10, 12, 14-hour days, you know, right down to my son or my daughter Maggie, quite frankly, and she's 13. So the ability for these kids to find jobs and people just looking for hardworking kids to do a little odds and ends stuff around the house, it's amazing what they can find.
So good. You know what? I'm going to take this through to break, Craig. We'll pick up the thread, everybody, because we always like to do the family
Yeah,
stuff.
that's only 2 kids. I haven't gone to the other 9 yet.
I got it, man. I get it. And I want to hear it. And so do the listeners. The listeners want to hear about the style and the success of the Styles franchise that you've created. All of these homeschooled kids. What is the secret sauce? We've done whole shows. Matter of fact, I think the previous show we did was almost 100% about family, and which is awesome. And I love doing this kind of stuff. And we'll come back and we'll talk more about that. Let me reset this, everybody. Here's the topic for today: election season. Calm down. It's going to be good. Okay. Because Craig's here and Craig's going to set us straight on all of this stuff. Just kind of like Brock did last time he was here. He was kind of settling everybody down. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll talk more about the family, talk more about Craig and all of that. And Ameriprise Financial, of course. You're listening to the Tom Nash Show. Let's rock it. I got to do this read for this Craig guy. Hey, you want to do lunch next Tuesday with my little small group? You got availability?
I should next Tuesday. Let me double
Yeah.
check. Mhm. The 17th, that should work.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to send you an invite for what I call my small group lunch with Linda Way. I want you to meet Linda Way. Anya will be there as well. She has lunch with us. She's been doing a good job out there. She might be getting a full-time job. She may
Oh,
be,
awesome.
if you got something that you could, she's still, they cut her hours because of the student thing out there.
Okay.
I told her, I said, well, I'll talk to Craig and see if he's got something part-time he wanted to give you, but I think they're fixing her up. The policy's kind of goofed up. So anyway, whatever. It's all good. But nice that she's been doing some good work over there. It really took off on the tech stuff. Big time. Doing great work. Here we go. We just want our young people to do good work.
That we do.
Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Second segment sponsored by my guest today, Craig Stiles from Ameriprise Financial. And again, as I said in the first segment, full disclosure. I love saying full disclosure that we have all of our ReFirement Zone savings with Ameriprise Financial. Hopefully you'll put your ReFirement Zone savings with Craig and Ameriprise. And if you're hearing this and you're picking up the podcast somewhere outside of mid-Michigan, Ameriprise is a big company. I'll give you a couple phone numbers here in just a second. The reason you want to go with Craig is he can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future, just like he's doing for us, has been doing for us, guiding us, helping us, doing all these good things. You want to go check him out? 26 episodes. This will be our 27th episode with Craig. Go to the website, tommattshow.com, and you can pick up all his podcasts on all kinds of variety of topics here with the right financial advisor, like a guy that you can trust, like a Craig Stiles. Life can be brilliant. Love it. Call Craig Stiles, 1-800-528-1355, 517-483-4893. His email is craig.stiles@ampf.com. His offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan. New Digs, 48823. Stations in and out of the network, WJHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven, WJIM 1240 AM Lansing, the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network, that's how we're syndicated. Thanks to Steve and Ivy Gruber. We love you guys so much. You're so great. Steve's so talented. Ivy's so smart. Steve's so talented. They make a good team. WJRW 1340 AM in Grand Rapids. Carried us for a long time. WKLQ 1490 Muskegon Whitehall. WYPV FM 94.5 Mackinac City. And of course, last but not least, WKAR, the flagship of Michigan State University, AM 870, the big one, the big talk show, news talk, AM 870, Sundays at 5. Been carrying us on that station for a long time now. 102.3 FM is the simulcast. And of course, all of those stations that I mentioned that are carrying us, you can pick up simulcasts all over the place. It's, weekend radio is crazy. And the podcast is great. Thank you again to Craig Stiles for creating Decidere Analytics. We're going to talk a little bit about Decidere just to kind of refresh everybody, because we have a lot of new listeners, where we are making light of weighted decisions. That's the important thing. It's the toolbox. It's the toolbox, everybody. And I want to thank again Steve and Ivy Gruber for doing what they do. Remember, we have 4 books on Amazon. Please check those out. They're a little popular sometimes. And go check those out. Generation Us being the latest and greatest. All right. Craig's back. Calling this one election season. Calm down. Calm down. So it's going to be okay. But we haven't finished This Is Your Life yet. We've only got through two of the 17 kids. So we got to get through the rest of these children, because their stories are so amazing. And that's why you want to reach out to Craig, maybe for some church events, some public speaking, any of these types of things, why you want to meet him, because of these, with what he has done with his wife, Stephanie. Stephanie gets a lot of the credit. Stephanie gets all the credit. Okay. Doesn't she?
She does.
She does. Stephanie gets all the credit. But these kids have all done so well, and that's why we like to spend some time with Craig catching up with it because this is your life. All right. So we got through Michaela. I got to look her up on LinkedIn. Miriam is out in Wyoming. I saw her on Facebook today and
She
with
is now
buffalo.
home as of last night. So she came home, got home roughly about 11 o'clock last night. So
Okay.
she's
So she's all over the place. I mean, if she's not getting bit by a rattlesnake down in Texas, she's out in Wyoming playing with buffaloes. I mean, girls all over the place. So,
that's
uh,
one of those things you put on in the family chat, and when she's saying pictures, sending back family chats of the, buffaloes, and I kind of make my, dad smart aleck comment saying, "Why is it when I see these pictures, all I can think of?" And of course, I do those little emojis of hamburgers. So I'm like, these are great, but why is it that all I think of are the hamburgers? I'm like,
those, hey, you know what, everybody? If you haven't tried buffalo burgers, let's do a little nutritional plug here. They're great. I mean, buffalo burgers are awesome. And so we should be eating more buffalo. And it's just kind of hard to find sometimes. All right, pick up the thread with all the kids. Give them all some love. They love hearing their names. Go
Oh,
right ahead.
absolutely. You sit there and think of, so we had Christian kind of talk about what he was doing. My son Charlie, he had working for a company called Alltech first half of this year, and working in their research and development department. So he had a lot of fun enjoying doing that. He's back at school out of Benedictine College, kind of continuing on with his engineering degree, and so kind of enjoying life out there. It's quite a ways away, so I think he's loving that separation a little bit, but when his younger siblings see him come home and they go out and reach out to him and greet him, and his younger siblings are saying, "Missed you, Charlie," makes a huge, huge difference. So it's kind of nice for him to go out, but it's even nicer when he comes back. And so that's Charlie, and then Miriam was number 4. Kind of already talked about Miriam. She's been getting more involved in the animal breeding aspect. So Wyoming was kind of a vacation for her. She went out there with some friends, did some camping in Yellowstone, and then they had a wedding up in Nebraska to go to. So they flew out to Wyoming area, was picked up by one of her friend's brothers, and then they went camping, and then her friend and their brothers and whatnot came, basically drove back, and they got back late last night. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. She's got some fun stuff going on in the animal industry right now. So we'll keep you posted on how that goes, if you will. So then we got Peyton. Peyton is still at the Wilson Automotive Center. He was one of the first kids in their history, as I understand, to be certified mechanic as a junior. So he's doing really well out there, enjoying the aspect of automotive, becoming an automotive mechanic in that realm, or in that area, if you will. So he likes working with his hands, and from that perspective, ended up going out buying a car, swapping out the motors with that. One of my kids, my son Christian, hit a deer, so they ended up getting some parts. He and Charlie actually worked on getting the parts and getting that car fixed up and ready to roll. So the aspect of, again, just having that work ethic of, let's go ahead and get this taken care of. So that's probably the best thing I think I can instill in them, right? So my son Peyton, or excuse me, Zachariah, now same thing. He is one, academically doing well in school, enjoys the academic challenge, but he's also very talented. So he ended up selling some of his pens for roughly about $100 a piece that he makes himself. So that was stuff that he would get on a lathe, spin it, and went off and sold them. So that the opportunities that he's finding himself doing are up there. So that's Zachariah, and then my daughter Maggie, who's 13, picking up soccer. So she's, again, school and doing soccer. The twins, the same thing, soccer. And then, of course, you have Chaylee's in ballet, and JoJo, the baby, she basically tags along and tells everyone else what to do. So she's kind of the management. She's taken after mom, literally. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me carry this through here. The voice you're hearing and the family you're hearing is Craig Stiles. Craig Stiles, the greatest family man ever. They're going to do a movie about him someday, I'm sure. I mean, it's just the homeschooling, the whole aspect of what he's done. I've had these I've had the kids when we had Big House Holt at our pool and watched these children and watched how these children watched each other and maintained each other, the most well-behaved, polite kids you'd ever want to meet in your life. And so whatever they're sprinkling in the water out there in Williamston, Michigan, let's share some of that stuff, or whatever they're doing. It's all good. Again, Craig Stiles is here. We're going to talk election season, calming down, financial fitness. This is the Tom Mansion. Worked out perfect. Only took 2 segments.
When
Great.
you're, I know, right? And I
That's
just
it.
have to laugh about it. When he said whatever is being trickled into the water out there, and I'm sitting there thinking, all I can think of is when the cows are sitting there drinking their water, and all of a sudden they're urinating and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I want what's trickling in the water out here. But one thing when you're talking about kind of a descriptor for Decidere a little bit, I had
Yeah.
a person who I had given a talk to, or basically, he's an internal with Ameriprise, a regional vice president of retirement planning, and he was asking about how I found a particular relationship and whatnot. And I basically shared with him, I highlighted the fact about Decidere, what its capabilities are, and
Hold this.
when he
It's not that I'm sorry to interrupt you, Craig, but this is good. Let's just record this.
oh, I mean, this dynamic though, I was just going to share with you from, well, I guess we could if you want to do the descriptor of it, but yeah.
Well, it's just because it helps people understand, because I wanted to talk about Decidere. I always like to bring it in here and there. So if
Yeah,
you're
I
okay,
did. Yeah, no, that'd be fine. That'd be perfect.
a
That'd be
good
perfect.
story. And then election season calm down. I mean, that fits into why.
Well, I guess you're right. I guess it would tie into the kind of elections. I could tie it into it. That'll
Yeah,
work.
because the tool is there, and that's why you don't have to be excited about election season, because you have Decidere. And
Mhm.
that's a perfect segue into that whole thing. So let's do that. Here we go. See, that's my job, to kind of like figure things out. Not, not to be rude, but I love your stories. It's like, hold
Not to be
on,
rude, not to be rude, Craig, but
shut up. We're gonna
not to
save
be
that for a
rude.
second. That's too good. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Nash Show. If you got to see what we do between the scenes here, watch the videos, you'd be entertained. Guarantee it. Guarantee, especially when I got people like Craig Stiles, our guest today. Election season, calm down. Our sponsor for this segment is White Law, Jamie White, Kingpin. They're the best. I mean, White Law, all of our sponsors are just top notch. That's why they're our sponsors. We're very, very, very choosy. We want to be very careful with people that we endorse, the people that endorse us. We want everyone to understand that there's trust that goes both ways. And we want, if you hear it from me, you can believe in it. Okay. White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. Love that tagline. White Law is your advocate in times of need. That's a good one too. Here we are to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve. They are there. We are here. Contact White Law today for your free consultation. Free. WhiteLawPLLC.com. Great website. Fantastic website. Call 517-777-9785. Talk to anybody over there. Anybody that answers the phone, any of the clerks that help you. Jamie, if you've got an issue and you're in a jam and you want to send me a note and you got my number, send me a note. I will get a hold of Jamie for you and he will respond quickly. He have done that happen with, I've had this happen with other friends, and I've called him and he gets right back to me right away, and he is super busy. So hopefully we can make you happy and get your issue resolved. It's White Law PLLC. And thank you again to Jamie and the whole crew over there at White Law, Stephanie and everybody, for promoting and supporting us and the Mad Dog Minutes. David DeMarco, my buddy, another brother from another mother. You see those 3 times a week on our YouTube channel, and they're very popular. I mean, we're getting a lot of people watching those things, and regular people love to see Dave DeMarco and get his insight on sports, of course. Okay. Back to the show today. Election season, calm down. Craig Stiles is here. Financial fitness. So here's where we're going to go, everybody, because it is election season, and Craig will talk us off any ledge that we're on. But one thing I want to lead into, and during break, we started talking about this a little bit, and that's why I wanted to kind of come back to this, where Decidere Analytics is something very, very special. And this is Craig's proprietary algorithm. You hear me talk about this. We talk about this occasionally. This is a perfect segue into why you would really want to consider Craig and Ameriprise because of Decidere. Okay, Craig, was that a good setup to understand, make everybody kind of understand why the toolbox of Decidere can help people just chill and
It
feel good?
provides, yeah, I think so. I mean, just from the perspective of when a person is kind of investing, you see a lot of volatility going on in the markets or a lot of uncertainty, do they have confidence in what they're actually invested in and the advice that they're getting? And in most cases, when I talk with an individual about investing, they may not understand fully why they're invested in the product that they currently are. And sometimes, as long as they understand there's a process in place that gives them the confidence they need, then that's what they would basically not make any adjustments or changes when the markets start to waffle, if you will, go up and down, have higher levels of volatility, because that definitely disrupts their long-term goals when they start focus on short-term gyrations in the markets. So just to kind of lead into this, kind of from this perspective, within the last couple of weeks, I had a conversation with a regional vice president here within Ameriprise, and we're going through and I was working on a particular relationship, and he was asking, well, how did you get that relationship? And I says, well, we started talking about investments, and I brought up Decidere.com, the website, and I logged in and basically highlighted how the process I go to find a particular product. And in that conversation, that individual literally sat down with us and wanted to start a relationship because of how I found the product, what I was specifically doing. Now, this person, this regional vice president, then was wanted to introduce me to yet another person. He's actually out in California, put me in touch with yet another person because of how different this is. Now, this is a person who has over 20 to 30 years experience within Ameriprise presently and saw the benefit of what we might be able to offer to other advisors potentially. Now, this was when he was making the introduction, this was his quote in the email that he forwarded on to the individual. He said, Decidere is a company that helps take the emotions out of investing by focusing on pragmatic methodologies and decision making. I had the chance to get a demo earlier this week. Very intriguing conversation. So I only met with them once. For that conversation, for me to share with them what I'm doing and how that goes, that was, I probably couldn't have addressed it any more from my perspective on how do you describe what Decidere's abilities are. And he said, emotions takes the emotions out of investing by focusing on pragmatic methodologies and decision making. When we talk about the investment cycle right now, it's very driven by emotion. You have one political party that's driving solely on emotion, another political party that's trying to focus on policies that are being implemented. My clients' investments don't get impacted by emotion, they get impacted by policy. And when I sit there and think about what's happened over the last 2 to 3 years, watching my clients have to take additional investments out of their retirement accounts just to maintain their existing lifestyle, that increases their tax liability, reduces, in many cases, increases their premiums to their Medicare, and reduces the net effect of what they get from their cost of living adjustment that they got from Social Security. I've been seeing a net negative impact because of policy. And so that is what is really happening out in the markets today that does not get addressed every day in the news media and what is being played out there. And so that has been a very frustrating component for me when I sit there and think of, all right, how do I get clients and maintain for them to keep invested, understanding that they have to take more out of their portfolios just to maintain a lifestyle that they become accustomed to. And then we've got to figure out ways of being able to reduce their tax liability while they're forced to take more out of their retirement assets. So yeah, it's definitely a marriage, if you will, between what Decidere ability is and what the client's goals and needs are, with me being the advisor to show the client that what I'm doing is meeting their goals and objectives, even during these volatile times in the political environment we're finding ourselves presently.
Well, my question for you, Craig, and I've got about a minute to go before we go to break here, so I'm going to frame this up and see where we are and perhaps pick this up when we come back. But taking more out of the portfolio seems like, with all of the attributes that you just mentioned, between the tax liabilities, the Medicare, the Social Security impacts, all of the things that go into this, it really starts to mess with the whole flow.
Yep.
And I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's messing with our flow. And when we get to this point in our lives, when we're in the refirement zone, one thing I don't want to do, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there that are in our same position, they don't want to do this, or they're getting ready to get into this position. They want to put themselves in a position where we're fortunate enough to be in this position. It's like, I don't want to have to make any more. I don't want to make any decisions on this kind of stuff. Am I thinking the right way, Craig? We'll pick this up when we come back, but I just want to get your yes or no. Am I thinking about that right?
Uh,
Kind
yeah,
of.
one thing that I would highlight in many areas, in a lot of investors, I view them almost as business owners. They can do anything and everything that I'm presently doing. But at some point, your business, you're going to want to go off and do something else, and you're going to want to hire someone to take over and run your business. And so you're going to have these net goals, and it's got to be net of whatever the cost is to hire the person. So you're either going to hire a person to take out the trash, to sweep the rooms, to clean up whatever you have in your office. Then eventually you're going to hire a sales staff or your office manager, whatever it might be. And eventually you're going to hire a CFO or a COO, right? Chief Operating Officer or Chief Financial Officer for your business. So you can go off and do other things or bring in new business. It's
All
not too
right.
different. It's not
Hold
too
that
different
thought.
from the
I'm gonna
investment
come back
side.
here because we'll come back to net goals and hiring people and talking about the portfolio ins and outs of the portfolio. Everybody, we'll talk about this. We had to do something similar recently ourselves, so I'm basing this on all of our life's journey because that's why Craig's here. We're talking about our life journey. Hopefully, Craig can help you with your life journey. Election season, calm down. Craig Stiles is here. Financial fitness. This is the Tom Mann Show. Well, that's really, I'm glad we saved that story. Okay, let's roll because we got a flow going here. I want to get this going here. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate everyone. I'm very, very grateful to be on broadcast radio on the Michigan Talk Network, on our podcast with all of our staff, with Vanessa, our production staff, with Vanessa and Mitch. I mean, everybody's working really hard to put things together. We got Craig, we got Brock, we got Jamie. Brock is our sponsor for this segment. Brock Fletcher at the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Remember, we have the reality of real estate. We have his segments and episodes over there. Please check those out. All three of our sponsors are people you can trust. Please call Brock today. 517-853-6408 is the office number. His cell phone number, which he encourages everybody to call, text, leave voicemails, 517-303-3262. You go online to kwsellingteam.com. If you have a young person or you're getting into a refirement zone situation for a new career and you want to, perhaps you want to get a new outlook on life and get a new job, that's the place you want to go to with Brock Fletcher. Caleb Coley was on the show last episode. That was our episode last week with Brock, with Caleb Coley from Michigan State University, football player at Michigan State University, loving it. He's been with Brock for 3 years, learning all kinds of good things. You should see and hear what they were talking about and how he is helping these young people. That's why you want to go to Keller Williams, because the selling team of Keller Williams is the bomb. kwsellingteam.com, kwsellingteam.com. The easiest way, again, everybody, TomMattShow.com is our website. The bottom of that homepage, you can go there. You can click on any of our sponsors, which are there. Craig's there, Jamie's there, Brock's there, and other people are there. They will help you. They want to be there to support you, serve you. They're all servant leaders. They're all very faith-based, very, very good people. You cannot go wrong. Again, remember, realtors, they start spending money on marketing when they get your listing, not Brock, not Craig, not Jamie. They're investing. They're investing their money, their marketing dollars to try to get the word out so that you can have good informed decisions. Again, back to our show with Craig Stiles, election season, calm down. That leads us back into making good decisions, Craig, as I was just saying, talking about Decidere and how you did all of these magical things 20 years ago. They must have thought you were a little bit Looney Tunes when you're coming up with this algorithm. It's like, because you got that engineering degree and you got that MBA and you got this very diverse background. Well, when you first came up with the idea for Decidere and this awesome tool that helps support all of your people and us, Sandy and I mean, What was the feedback from people? Did you have positives, negatives? I mean, back then that was like, this is so new. You know how technology is. What was the story there?
Great question. It's been transformative, for lack of a better term. Going through the evolution from turning it from the Excel spreadsheet that I had into the web-based algorithm that it is today. Doing everything as a financial advisor is very difficult because as a financial advisor, nobody's looking for a financial advisor to come up and actually build something like this. Typically, you're going to see them go off and become independents and start and build their business by accumulating assets under management. Very few have actually gone off and tried to create a product to make your industry a little bit better. And so from that perspective, being on the inside and trying to convey that to someone on the outside, oh, we're already doing something like that, or we're already working on allocations or whatever it might be, because they focus on asset allocations, such as how much stocks, bonds, cash you should have as a part of your portfolio. Hey, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to add alternatives. And then when allocations kind of get out of whack, many circumstances say, well, we need to change the client's risk tolerance in order to be in alignment with a portfolio that they were in alignment before, but now because they add something, well, now it's out of alignment. So going back to 15, 20 years and to get to where I am today, the applicability of what I do and the process that it applies is not only specific to the financial industry, but also is very applicable to decision making outside of the finance industry. Here, it just helps more so even on the compliance because it institutes a process that can go from year to year to year because clients' profiles really don't change. All the products do. The decision making of who's buying and selling the stocks, how good is a investment manager actually doing in buying and selling the stocks? I mean, that's all that's actually happening. Two things are happening in the markets. You're buying a stock, you're selling a stock. You're buying a bond, you're selling a bond. You're buying gold, you're selling gold. You're buying silver, you're selling silver. People talk about, well, we need to buy gold for inflation of hedge. Okay, well, tell you what, if I would have bought gold at the same time Apple came out, which one would have Apple stock, which one would have outperformed and outpaced inflation faster? Apple stock over the last 20 years, not gold, from that perspective. So I have to address many overlying variables that people get marketed to each and every day. Decidere allows me to put that into context because now I can say, well, how good are these people at buying and selling gold? How good are they at buying and selling silver? How good are they at buying and selling Apple stock? Because every time when they're buying and selling, it creates a statistic, an alpha, a beta, an up market capture, down market capture. Depending on the different economic cycle we find ourselves in, those variables are going to change. So we're in a defensive cycle. So that means we want to focus or find an asset manager that has a larger allocation of their portfolio in healthcare, consumer staples, and utilities. If we're in a growth economic cycle, we want to have less exposure to utilities, healthcare, and consumer staples. Those are areas in which we start to find asset managers to meet clients' goals and objectives. So how this stuff has been received, in most cases, being a financial advisor, a lot of organizations say, oh, we're already doing something like this. So they don't even review it. But when I compare it, they're like, yeah, we're not doing something like that. Or they said, we refer to our research department. I says, well, let me take a look at what your research department, how did they make a recommendation as to what funds they want to make available to their clientele base? That is what has been the beauty of Decidere. For me, the more data, the better. That means the better I can do for my clients and the better I can find an asset manager that is going to give them the least amount of volatility with the maximum amount of performance, achieving their goals and making sure that my fiduciary responsibilities is being met, or any other fiduciary for that matter, a fiduciary for an endowment or a foundation. One of the beautiful things is my ability of being able to actually build a portfolio in a boardroom, sitting down with a portfolio and say, what's your investment policy statement need to be? Now let's build this portfolio together. How important does alpha need to be? What time periods are we looking at? How important are those time periods? Now I'm giving them guidance, and we're actually instituting a process that can be a part of their investment policy statements going forward and actually build and implement a strategy during a board meeting.
I love
Have
what you're saying. about all of this stuff between the allocations and the risk tolerance that Decidere gives you the opportunity to explore. But the thing that it really is kind of breathtaking in a way is what you talked about with your friend, your colleague, helps take the emotion out of it. That
Yeah.
is key. I mean, because we're all emotional. We're all human beings. We need to take the emotion out of these things because we get bombarded, don't we, Craig, with all of this marketing. And now we got all this social media stuff and radio and TV and, oh, the world is ending and this and that. We got an election coming and oh my gosh, take the emotion out of it. Decidere helps us do that.
Yep.
That's so awesome.
Well, want to provide something for you and Sandy from that perspective. It gives you guys comfort knowing that, all right, there's a process we went to find a particular strategies that we're implementing within your portfolio. And then those, do I anticipate changing a strategy every other year? Not necessarily, but the dynamic of being able to measure and weigh those categories based on what I think is going to occur over the next couple of years, we can feel very confident with the adjustment or changes that we do make. So from that perspective, that allows me to be more of a consultant and talk about the greater things such as the Tom Matt Show. How do we go about continuing to grow and build the Tom Matt Show because your portfolio is already positioned and being able to sustain your lifestyles going forward? So what's that next step?
That brings up, and I'm going to take this through the break here, Craig. Craig Stiles, our guest today, everybody. Election season, calm down. A couple of shows ago, we did Craig was adamant that we need to do a review of your portfolio. And I'm like, no, we don't. I'm good. We're fine. And so then, okay, I got to listen to Craig. Okay, Craig. Well, okay, let's do this. Once I listened to him, I was like, I am so dumb. Sometimes it's like, I just, you start thinking about the time. I don't want to put the time into this thing. Craig, it's fine. Everything's great. But when he explained it all to us, and it's like, we didn't really change much. We changed a couple of little things. But when Craig went through that, he saw it. The tool was there. It helped again, what his friend said about taking the emotion out of it, focusing on the pragmatic. That's what made the difference for us. And let me tell you guys, it's done great. I'm just telling you, I would gladly show you our balance and show you where we're at. And it's like nice to see when you're getting a monthly withdrawal and your money's going up. I like that. And with that, I'm going to close this segment. We'll come back and finish this stuff. Election season, calm down. Craig's here. Financial fitness. This is the Tom Matt Show. That is a fact. Talking to the camera. Let me tell you guys. I wonder about because Sandy's like, should we lower our, now perhaps it's a tax thing. We'll talk about this here in a second. But it's all right. Let me just go. Get all your stuff. Let's throw this fifth segment. I'm going to get the plug in, and then I want to come back to my thought before I forget it. Here we go. I love doing radio. So much fun. Thank you for listening to the Tom Matt Show, fifth segment, either on the podcast or on some of our radio stations that are carrying us in the fifth segment. So proud to put on the fifth segment. Remember, you can contact us at tommattshow.com. You can go to all of our social media. Everything is there. All of the different aggregators for podcasting, whoever you like, whatever flavor you like, if it's iTunes or if it's Spotify or if it's Google Play or whatever the heck you guys like, they're all there. Okay. The buttons are there. Just click on them. Away you go. You can handle that. Craig, how would you like people to connect with you? I've given the phone number. I can give the phone number again if you'd like, the 800 number, the email, our website where they can click right through to you. But how would you like people to connect with you for maybe some personal treatment, maybe some personal speaking engagements, church events, all these kinds of things? Go ahead, Craig, please.
The easiest thing is if they just Google my name and go to the Ameriprise.com website, and basically there they can reach out to me directly, and I'll actually get an email notification that separates them out with a lot of the other minutia, for lack of a better term, that we get in our emails, right? So from that perspective, that would be the easiest. That way, when they call in, I can respond and get back with them. And if there's a particular item that they want to kind of discuss and go over, they can put some of the details within that email, and then we can address it when we reach out. So from that perspective, that is typically would be the best and easiest way, I think, for us to communicate, because then they can do it on the weekend, they can do it later at night after they get home from work, whatever the structure might be. Because if they try to call during the day, They might get through, more than likely they will. And my phone's not always ringing off the hook because things are always set up already for many clients. And so I'm just going through and monitoring things as we go through. So, but from the perspective of ease of accessibility, Googling my name and or sending me an email directly at craig.stiles@ampf.com. That would probably be the easiest. If they want to call after hours, they just leave a message. But being able to leave additional detail. My name, Google it, Yahoo it. However they want to search my name, they
Yeah,
can do that. It'll come
the
across.
Bing thing or whatever the heck they're calling them now, the duck, duck, go thing. Whatever. I want to just touch on that. What I closed the previous segment with that thread of our withdrawals, and this is a fact. Okay. So I look at our portfolio maybe every couple of months. I mean, because I don't worry about it too much. I'm just curious as to see, because we do take small withdrawals monthly. Craig has us on actually Karen has us set up on the auto pay, and we get that in addition to our Social Security and all that kind of stuff because we're at that age. And so I look at our portfolio, thanks to Decidere, thanks to Craig Stiles, and we take money out of our savings, and your savings goes up. And that is a true statement. I'm not kidding you. So it's like, okay, if I can't, I mean, I'm being so straight up here. It's like, now that is that going to happen forever? Who knows? I mean, I don't know. But I like the way Desidere's got everything, the allocations, the alignment, the risk tolerance. Craig knows what we need because he's plugged all the variables into the Decidere model. Again, getting us back to the election season. Craig, and thank you for that. And I just wanted to give that true, honest plug there, just saying, hey, cool, because we're going to talk about calming down with this election season coming. I want to finish this show, the rest of the show, talking about your perspective from the election season and calming down. Don't get excited. Don't go buying a bunch of gold because you heard it on the radio 14 times. It's like Craig said, if you'd have done that 20 years ago with Apple and gold, where would you be? You'd be probably pretty ticked off. Craig, where do you see take the rest of the episode just to talk about election season and calming down? Where do you see in your pragmatic crystal ball? Is that a good way of saying it? Pragmatic crystal ball. We're going to be a pragmatist through the lens of Decidere, looking into the crystal ball. How's that? Does that sound good?
Usually the crystal ball is not very pragmatic, so we'll go with it. That's not a pragmatic method that I would encourage by any stretch. But I want to highlight, when we first met and when we first started consolidating things for you, that was towards the beginning of 2022. That's when the markets were having a huge correction. And the objective of when we started the relationship and your portfolio was starting off in a negative, we're going through aggregating. The important part there was for you to be able to continue to take a level of withdrawal that you needed to, even when the markets are down, as well as when the markets were recouping. So our relationship started in probably the worst time that we could ever have started our relationship, and how the markets were going through negative. But for you to be able to maintain that lifestyle and for it to continue to grow, that has been a dynamic to where what was your goal? What was your portfolio need? And then finding the appropriate strategies in some of the stormiest environments. And then saying, all right, this is a strategy that's going to allow you to be able to withdraw. And so even if you buy here, the portfolio goes down, and then you're able to take that withdrawal out the same amount, and then have the confidence that it's going to rebound at some point going forward. It's that confidence piece that, hey, the market's down, let's make a change. No, let's not make a change. You are still going to be able to take your withdrawal that you need to take out because I have confidence that that portfolio is going to continue to grow. That's what you're witnessing by maintaining the strategies and allowing it to continue, because your goal and what the portfolio was able to achieve aligned itself. And that was during one of the very difficult times. That's what leads up to the whole election cycle that we find ourselves in. Don't change your strategies because of short-term election cycles. That's why we're talking about elections. And what was the last part of that we want to add to it, right? Well, don't make any adjustments. Don't go crazy, right? Calm down. and just make sure that you feel confident. Because if you are not confident in what is and you're really nervous investment wise, maybe what you're invested in is not aligning with your goals, because you should not have to adjust your lifestyle drastically in order to be able to maintain your investment strategy presently. Maybe at the beginning it wasn't where it needed to be to start with, right? So from that perspective, that's what I would be leaning on towards, is just making sure that what they're aligned with, what product they're investing in, is actually meeting and aligning with their goals. Don't be sold something. Don't be sold something. And so when you
That,
start doing that, that's what's going on.
that's why we love having you around and not having, I don't want to buy anything. I don't
Right.
want to do anything. All I want to do is just do this. And
Right.
that's where everybody else is. Everybody else has got their own retirement zone strategies and what they're doing here. And if you can not, I'm not a day trader. I'm not a real estate person. I'm not a finance person. I'm a talk show host and I'm a telecom guy. Okay. You got to find your strengths and weaknesses and be okay with that. Be okay with going to a Craig Stiles and understanding that when you pay professionals to manage your business, whatever it is, hiring people, as Craig was saying earlier, hitting your net goals, taking more out of the portfolio, whatever it is, you need to understand that you got the A team behind you.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. Just don't sweat it. Just calm down. Election season. Craig, where do you think this is going? We got about 3 minutes to go before we want to finish this up here. And without asking you political questions, but what do you think is the end result of all of the media? Just there's so much money being spent on media. It's crazy. They
One of the more difficult things that I've had to deal with over the last, I'd say, 10 years, have been trying to sift through what's true and what's not true. I mean, I'm going to kind of joke about this a little bit, but just today, I was going through and actually made a screenshot of my, I've got to go through here. I made a screenshot of what I did this morning. It had two things: investing. I'm going to kind of investing.com, if you will, and the other one is Barron's. And investing.com, it says don't buy the dip in Nasdaq tech stocks, according to Bank of America. And the other one says stocks bounce back. Traders are buying the September dip. Within 6 minutes of each other, two different investment organizations. So which is it? What do you do? Bank of America is a very they're a very respected, financial advisory firm or organization as it relates to it. They have a research analyst group. Barron's is a respected no, or, news organization as well when it comes to investing. So which one do you actually would adhere to? Then of course I do appreciate Ameriprise's research department, because they are very calm. They don't make any judgments one way or the other. They just say, here are the facts. They actually had several articles, I'm sure you would have received someone via email, that have talked about like our before the bell and after hours research reports that will talk about, especially when there's a lot of volatility. They had a nice article that talked about what was going on and what happened to the markets, after an election, whether Democrats or Republicans were there. And ironically, if the markets had no growth in 5 years or immediately after investing, it was almost split 50-50, regardless of who was president at the time, on how much growth you would have. 5% growth, 10%, 15, all the way up to a 40% growth in the markets afterwards, versus how much the markets have gone down after an election cycle, almost 50-50. So basically that was, all right, you're hearing all this stuff in the news, but what actually happens? You don't hear about what actually happens in the markets when an election cycle has gone through and passed. That's the minutia we have to go through and re-educate clients on, and individuals who are not working with financial advisors, because many times a lot of these adjustments and changes occur within 401k plans, which are individually driven. Those people who are in 401k plans may not have a financial advisor. So in many circumstances, I would encourage them to reach out and talk with one.
There you go. And that's why you want to reach out to Decidere Analytics, to Craig Stiles, and within Decidere Analytics and Ameriprise. Let me give you the phone number real quick here one more time, and then we're going to wrap this bad boy. 1-800-528-1355. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests like a Craig Stiles, our topics. We are here for you. All right. If you missed any portion of the show, please go to the website. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks again to Craig Stiles, Sandy, Brock, Jamie. We'll talk to everybody next weekend. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, Comment Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Lastly, I want to say thank you to our production staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa. You guys are the bomb. We are out. So easy. Save, file, save. I'll send you an invite for Tuesday, and I want you to meet Linda Way, and she will be.
Did I meet Linda once before? Was she? Did I meet her at the at Brody?
We have a lot of lunches at Brody, so
Okay.
you might have met her before.
I think it was the first time when I met
Anya?
yes, Anya.
Uh-huh.
I think there was you brought somebody over at that point. Was that her? I can't remember. I couldn't remember.
Typically we would be sitting together. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter because Anya will be there, and or maybe. I mean, typically she comes to all of them.
Yep. Well, we'll find out. I mean, if I go there,
No, it's just good people. It's just us, networking at the
yep.
university, and her husband's going to be doing a lot of work. That's why we took some money out of our. I needed to get a little money out because we're still waiting on my dad's thing. Or the basement. I got to get some work done in the basement. So her husband is a general contractor, and he did a little refresh for Sandy's bathroom, and now he's doing a big refresh for the bathroom downstairs, which is going to get completely demoed and made right. And then we're going to put a sump pump in because I've had problems with water down there, and I'm like, that's it. I'm done with all this. We're not doing this anymore. So yeah. Yeah, so that's her husband, and they live actually out towards your way. They're in Okemos, but they're awesome people. Awesome. It'll be fun. I'll send you a calendar invite as soon as I'm done with all this production work. Hey, brother, good to see you. Thank you so much. And you know what? It's really nice to be able to say, yeah, we're taking money out of our portfolio and it's going up. Okay, I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. How do I tip you?
Done. It's good. It's a good tip.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Thank you so much. And congrats on the kids. I'm going to be looking up Michaela on LinkedIn here as soon as I get all this other stuff done. So tell her she's been going to get well, I'll tell her.
You could actually send her, hey, Craig tells me your son, you get on the show. Let's talk about some stuff.
I want to do it. She's been on before. She knows how to do this Zoom thing.
Oh, well, one of the things that she's doing right now is she's been basically setting up press conferences for the governor.
Oh,
so one of the things she just highlighted or shared in her, and not to one up you guys during a family group chat, but I just met the guys who run NASCAR.
How awesome is that? She's wonderful. You know what? They found a good girl to do the work. That's the name of the game, brother. So congratulations on all that.
Worked hard to get there, so we'll see where it goes.
That'll be a fun wedding. I'm sure that's going to be a riot.
Yes, it will be for sure.
Something. All right, brother. I'll be in touch.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye, Tom.
Craig Stiles is the bomb. I've said that so many times. It's just like, it feels like a repeating record. But again, like I said during the show, to take our withdrawals out of our financial fitness and our money, our ReFirement Zone savings, and have it go up is so reassuring. It's almost surreal. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for listening, watching, doing everything that you do for the radio program. Support our sponsors. Without our sponsors, we can't do this. Our sponsors are the best. We've got Craig, we've got Jamie White, and we've got Brock Fletcher. They're all on the website. Check them out because they're there and you can find them easily and we trust them. Until next time, everybody, I'm Papa Tom. Have a great day. Peace out. Love y'all.